This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Linode, high-performance cloud hosting for everyone. Visit linode.com/MacVoices and take $20 off your first server package. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, the road to Macstock is really getting short at this point. We want you to join us in Woodstock, Illinois, to hear a lot of great presentations, meet a lot of great people, and have a whole lot of fun as we enjoy the Macstock weekend. And as you know, we've been talking to a lot of the speakers, we've been talking to some of the volunteers, and a few other people that are making the Macstock weekend a little extra special. I thought it would be fun, though, to have you hear from the two people who are probably the first ones you will see as you walk in the building, because these two ladies will be manning the registration table. First up, we have Janet Potter, who sounds suspiciously like the organizer of Macstock, Mike Potter.
Yep.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
Good. Yeah, Mike and I will be celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary this year. So. Yeah.
Whoa! Wow. How did he ever talk you into doing Macstock?
He just gets so excited about it. I mean, anyone who hears him talk about it, it's like, yeah. He's so passionate about it and loves it so much. It's like, it's hard to say no. So.
Yeah. Well, and also with us, Cindy Rotz is also a volunteer at Macstock. Cindy, welcome to MacVoices.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yes, I drug you to Macstock a couple of years ago. I guess more than a couple of years ago. And you have the t-shirt. Yep, 2015. Wow.
2015. Yeah, I had to look too.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And you decided that you enjoyed it so much, you wanted to come back, and then you started volunteering.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to get to that in a minute. But Janet, seriously, when Mike proposed this, did you have any idea that it was going to grow into what it has grown into?
I knew it would be successful because he was just so excited about it, and he had a really good idea. Now that we would get people from around the globe coming, I didn't expect that, and as many people. But I think as each year went on, it makes more sense. Of course, it's this big because he does such a great job with it, and the attendees just make it so wonderful that they love it, and the speakers are great.
So when did he first tell you that you were going to be manning the welcome table?
Actually, I offered to because he was putting it together, and I said, well, I'll help with the registration, and our daughter Maddie also helps too with it. And we recruited his dad, Bob, who you always see there with it too. And it was just, I've gone to a lot of conferences. I've been a speaker at a lot of conferences and professionally, so I knew how much it went into it. I knew he couldn't be doing a lot of that while working in trying to run the whole conference. And it was kind of doing the registration table and meet everybody.
Yeah, so somehow he conned the whole family into this.
Exactly, yep. People looking for more relatives we can bring in too.
That's good. A couple second cousins, yeah. That's good. That's good. Cindy, you came with me to Macstock in 2015, and I know you were a little bit hesitant because you're not necessarily a tech person, but I think you were surprised at how much you enjoyed it.
Exactly. I wasn't sure what I would have in common with everyone, and I was afraid that I wouldn't have anything to talk about, and the questions I might have might be silly questions, but everyone was so friendly and welcoming, and I just felt right at home and wanted to come back.
And then you decided you wanted to get involved.
Yes. Yep. I love being at the registration table. I love seeing everyone coming in and putting names to the faces and just chatting with everyone and getting to know everyone a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Say that those of us in the Potter family are so grateful, Cindy, for all of the help you've done every year.
Oh, I've loved it. I really have.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, the volunteers are always stepping up. They've become such an essential part. we talked a little earlier to Norbert Frosse, who is going to be manning the cameras this year. He's another one of those. I believe his term was he was a freshman last year, and now he's a sophomore and decided to volunteer. So there's something about Macstock that you come, I think, and you want to be, if you can be, a small part of it, in some fashion. Elle Newman has been there a couple of years. This year she's going to do the Yoga for Nerds thing. So everybody wants to add a little something to Macstock, and I think that's one of the things that keeps it growing.
Yeah, and the attendees every year are so wonderful, just jumping in and helping with things. People will help each other find things or help each other figure out where they're going, what they're doing. They've given rides to people. They've given just everything. Anytime they see somebody, so that's so great. Like Cindy was saying, it's so much fun watching everybody and seeing everyone interact and just all being part of the community.
So Cindy, when people first come in, do they ever say, "Gee, this is my first time here. What am I supposed to do?" Or do they just sort of fall in and register and go about their business?
Well, I think it's pretty well organized because they first stop and, we say, "What is your name?" And we give them their badge, and then we just lead them down the table and say, "You get this and this and this and this." They're like, "Oh, wow." They're always so pleased, "Oh, I get all these goodies to start with." And then we usually tell them, where the rooms are and where the bathrooms are and where lunch is, and just kind of give them a general, layout of the land. But it's pretty well. I mean, Mike has organized it, I think, very well, and Janet, at the table, that it just flows so smoothly. And everyone's just so excited just to get to the first session.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I get torn between, I want to be in the sessions, but I also want to be in the hallways having those conversations that are almost as valuable as the sessions themselves, which I think is the hallmark of a great conference. Is there's so many places you want to be, and you can't be all of them at once.
Well, and that's something else we get to see, I think, at the registration table. We get to see what's going on outside of the sessions. We get to see all the people chatting with each other, and you think, why aren't they in a session? But they're networking and they're, talking with other people all day long at lunch and during breaks. And I mean, it's just constant, people talking with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Janet, is that something you think that you and Mike expected, that it wasn't just going to be, okay, everybody into the auditorium for the session, then everybody out for a break, then everybody back in? Did you expect that informal atmosphere?
Yeah, I think he expected that more than I did because he's been more involved with the Mac community and knew, how it really is, the network of people getting together. So I was surprised because coming, from a more professional thing. I guess in that setting too, though, you would have the networking going on. And I would definitely encourage any first-time attendees, don't be afraid to go up to a group and start talking to people, or go up to a speaker and just introduce yourself and say, "I loved your session," or "I love your podcast," or whatever it is too, because everyone is so warm and welcoming. Or going, is the seat taken, and sit down with them at lunch. Don't be a loner by yourself. There are too many awesome, friendly people out there to get to know.
Well, I distinctly remember the first year we had the Friday night dinner for the speakers in 2015, and Cindy knew no one, and Gaz Maz came over, and I think I believe I introduced him, and he gave her a big hug, and she was a little shocked, I think, as I recall.
Yes,
So
everybody was that way. Everyone, just like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And they just throw their arms around you, and just had a great time.
Yeah, it's like, welcome to the family.
Yeah.
That first year, Gazman stayed at our house with us, and by the end of it, it felt like he was the cousin you knew growing up and hadn't seen since you were kids. It felt like family.
Yeah, that's the way. And I've told a couple stories on the road to Macstock about different people, and you meet them one year, you get to know them, and then the next year, you're right, it's like they're family, they're old friends, and the interactions are the kind of interactions you have with people you've known for a long time, and maybe you've only seen them for those 2.5 days at Macstock before, but there's something about the atmosphere that just generates that kind of camaraderie. Today's MacVoices is supported by Linode. You can build it on Linode. What can you build on Linode? Pretty much anything you want from a server perspective. With fast native SSD storage, industry-leading processors, and a 1.4 gigabit network, your server is going to be really fast. So your resulting web presence is going to be really fast. With Linode's quick install options, you can get all kinds of servers up and running with just a click or two. WordPress, Minecraft, OpenVPN, Arc, WireGuard, Drupal, and more are all at your command. So creating is easy. Even if you have dozens of Linodes installed, their easy-to-use dashboard makes managing simple. So management is easy. Linode has data centers all over the world, from Newark to London, Singapore to Toronto. Linode has you covered. So managing geography-related matters is easy. In those rare instances that a problem does arise, Linode has 24/7 customer support. So support is easy. You can configure backups when you need them, with 3 times replication. So keeping the data on your server safe is easy. Increasing and decreasing storage can be done with a click. So adjusting to your growing or shrinking needs is easy. In other words, using Linode for your virtual cloud server is easy. That's why you need to visit linode.com/MacVoices right now to find out what it can do for you and to get a $20 discount on your first purchase. That's Linode, linode.com/MacVoices. If you've been wanting to check out a virtual server, now's your big chance. Go to linode.com/MacVoices and get started today. Thanks to Linode for their support of MacVoices. Janet, another thing that surprised me, and in fact, I'll throw this out to both of you. I didn't expect the range of ages, I think, as Macstock has developed, but I've had a young man named Daniel Princeton on a couple times, interviewing him. There was at least one last year that was even younger than Daniel, but it goes the whole way from that age the whole way up to, I believe, one lady was in her 90s, and yet again, everybody is the same. You don't look at somebody and say, "Oh, okay, over there, all the old people, over there are the young people." It's just a nice mixture.
Yeah, and again, because I hadn't had as much experience with the Mac community, I didn't expect that. I didn't realize that it wouldn't just be one type of computer nerd or something there, that it was all types of computer nerds, all types of Mac nerds, just from all walks of life. And it's really neat. And and people have day jobs. There, people who are tax accountants, and they're salespeople, and they're computer programmers, and the retirees. It's neat that it's just all sorts of different things together.
Well, and I think that's one of the things I was concerned about, because I thought, it's going to be all these nerdy guys, and what am I going to talk to them about? Because they're going to be using all this language that I don't understand, and sometimes that happens, and I'll say, "What did that mean?" And then they stop and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," because they do speak in different language sometimes, but they're always happy to explain it. But I was glad to see that there were some women there, and wives comes with their husbands, and girlfriends come with their boyfriends, etc. And it's not just it's just not a bunch of guys, talking about things that guys talk about. So it was just very open and welcoming. And you don't just talk about tech all the time too. You do talk about your life, and where you live, and where you're from, and what you're interested in. It's not just one note all the time.
I'm glad you brought that up, because as Janet said, they didn't expect people coming from all around the globe. And I remember that was what was so great about Macworld. You'd go to dinner and you'd have like 7 countries represented around the table. And that same experience, maybe to a little bit lesser degree, but not a lot, happens at Macstock. This time there are multiple countries represented, but even more so, there are different states represented and different regions of the country and Canada, of course. Macstock is close enough to Canada that people drive in, and it's just great because all the barriers disappear. People will make very good-natured fun of each other about their accents or food choices or whatever, and it's absolutely all in good fun. There's never a harsh word, and you think, boy, if we could just get more people to do this, the world would be a better place.
Well, I think this. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I think the social part of it is important too. The informal, going to dinner, the lunchtime, the parties afterwards. I mean, just sitting down and just talking with everyone, and just it's a little more relaxed, and then you can ask questions about, I really enjoyed your session, or what are you going to be speaking about tomorrow? And I always enjoyed that part of it as well.
Janet, you were going to say something.
Well, I was thinking that Cindy was right with the that people talk, I think, probably more in the informal sessions just about their lives, where they're from, where they, vacations they may have been on recently, or when they went to someone else's part of the country and things, as well as the Mac discussions, of course. But it seems like a lot of it's just people getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a very, very welcoming, friendly format. But it's the one thing about Macstock is that when you walk through that door, you automatically have something in common with everyone there, and I think that also helps that interaction a lot. They're all Apple fans. They're
Mm-hmm.
Mac users, iPhone users, Apple Watch users, Apple TV users, whatever, and so you can relate immediately. If you can't relate about anything else, that's what you can start with and go from there.
And that reminds me, the first year that I went, everyone had an Apple Watch but me. And I was just like, everyone has an Apple Watch. And I mean, I was looking at everyone. So I'm like, okay, let me see yours. Let me try yours on. And I think it was Allison. Chuck. She's like, yeah, try my band on. And, I was asking about all the different features and everything. And why do you like your Apple Watch? And then I think it was the next Christmas I ended up getting one. But, it's just one of those things. It's like, everybody has this. Why do you like it? Why do you wear it? And now I want one. And I got one.
We'll have to get somebody from the Apple store there to take orders. That's probably the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Janet, every year I try to get Mike to spill the beans on some of the giveaways and the logo and everything, but he's not here. Anything you can tell us when he's not around?
No, because I want to keep being married to him, so I don't want to get in trouble. I want to make it to that 30th anniversary coming up in the fall. No, he's got, what I can tell you the behind the scenes part. He really spends a lot of time designing the logo, tweaking it, looking at it. He'll have a couple of different ones that he's picking from, the color scheme. So a lot of work, a lot of care goes into it each year. So when you guys do see it, he loves it when people do comment that they like this year's T-shirt or whatever. It's just the creative process of doing it is something that he really enjoys doing, and he puts a lot of work into it. He's probably already, I don't know yet, but he's probably already in his head starting to plan year 6, so the next year.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me a bit.
Janet.
Mm-hmm.
Any chance there might be sweatshirts available? Because this is a very limited edition here.
Okay. I'll put in a good word for you, I'll say. When he watches the episode, he'll see.
Yeah.
So, Jan, I want to make sure I give you a chance because a lot of folks are coming to Macstock, to Woodstock, and there will be just a little bit of free time. Sometimes there is a little free time in the evening, and you run a very unique store in downtown Woodstock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About a year and a half ago, we opened Anime and Things, it's called. Anyone who doesn't know what anime is, it's Japanese animation. So it's Japanese cartoons, and we're really a pop culture store. We're a nerd store. So one-stop nerd shopping. So for all the nerds coming, and I use the term nerd a lot because all my customers come in and say, I'm a nerd. We love it. And we're on the Woodstock Square, have you stop in and say hello. Tell remind me that you're from Macstock, because even though I probably checked you in that morning, I will be seeing a lot of people. And Woodstock is just such a neat place. If you have extra time and can go and walk around the square or visit some of the other places, it's a really neat town with a lot of neat history. It's well worth spending a couple extra hours there for a couple days if you can swing it.
Yeah, it is. It is a very nice little town, and I guess now I've been there 4 or 5 times in the downtown area, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get the chance, go to downtown Woodstock. Make sure you stop in and say hello to Janet. Her store was the one that provided the Japanese sodas last year at the Saturday night event, which was very interesting and very different.
Planning on sending some candies this year, so Japanese candies. So.
Japanese candies. Okay. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I wanted to make sure we got you two on, since you will be the two of the first faces that people see when they walk through the door. So now, folks, you can go up and call Cindy by name, call Janet by name, and get checked in. And that'll be your first stop on a really terrific weekend.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And just don't hesitate to ask us or any of the other volunteers there. I'm not even sure what color shirts we'll have on. We'll have different colored shirts on, though. Ask for any sort of help that you might need, and don't hesitate to say I need something or ask a question, because that's what we're there for, and we love helping people.
Mike did train you well. You won't even tell me what color the volunteer shirts are.
I already decided.
Folks,
bad memory sometimes.
Folks, Macstock2019.com is where you go to register, and there's still time to register, so please go and register. If you use my speaker code, you can get $70 off the ticket for the weekend. It's a terrific value without the discount code. With the discount code, it's a steal. So please go, register, join us. We're going to have a ball. I already know a lot of my friends are coming, a lot of folks you've seen here on MacVoices. Everyone you've seen on the road to Macstock will be there. We're going to have a blast. We really want you to join us. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.